So welcome back, beautiful people of the Android community. Now today, the Malian Armed Forces opened today's campaign in the Kada region theater of operation, and the city we are going to be talking about to start this show is Gao. Ladies and gentlemen, right inside Gao there was an artisanal mine that was located in the Doro locality in Gao. And guess what? After carefully carrying out surveillance and reconnaissance operation, and the Malians were able to establish the presence of armed militia, about 20 of them, the Malian Armed Forces decided to launch a surgical precision targeted strike on this artisanal mine. And ladies and gentlemen, guess what? Check this out.
Amita Kidalish Mali Dronu ye fabo terosu nyena de Bolimafen no konibe terosi chama.
Yeah, and that is how we start the show. A lot of people have been asking a lot of questions, but the most important question here is simple. Can the JNIM match the geometry of the Malian annihilation of their capability, both logistics, finance? Because every artisanal mine that has been shut out is a strangle, is a choke hold on the JNIM logistic infrastructure. When it comes to how they resupply themselves, their partners, how they take care of their fighters, the Malians have tightened the news on the enemy. Ladies and gentlemen, according to information, 20 enemy fighters were taken out in that operation. So the Malians just breezed through them and they neutralized them. And the Malians didn't stop at that. The Malians said, no, we are not done. There was another pickup truck that carried a lot of fighters. According to the information we're given, the Malian Armed Forces launched another precision targeted strike, and everything in that pickup truck and all the logistic capabilities that they were carrying, the Malians rendered them useless. The Malians found another tent, and according to information, the Malians discovered that some activities that were illegal, that were not praying the right way, was going on in that tent. And what did they do? Another precision targeted strike in form of a 72 Virgin package. You get what I'm saying? So this is how the Malians wrap it all up in the Kada region. This is a message. Now, what have we noticed in the Kada region? Let's not even talk about the attrition rate of the enemy to continue the battle right now. Let's talk about what we have been discovering in the Gao region, the Kada region, including Menaka. We discovered that there is something that looks like a buffer zone, right? Airstrikes have been going on in central Kidal. Between Ageok and central Kidal, and Gao, Menaka and central Kidal, both are located north and south of central Kidal. Every JNIM fighter or FLA fighter that have crossed from Kidal and tried to scout or do anything, ladies and gentlemen, they've all been neutralized. Even drones that have been used for surveillance from central Kidal have been neutralized. The supply into central Kidal has been completely shut out. Anything going out of Kidal is heavily monitored. Let's see how long the terrorists can hold on. Now, if you watch one of the videos we dropped when the Malian Armed Forces and the Russian African Corps deployed the FPV drone to strike a certain military base, if you discover what we noticed in that video, you see that even when the base was struck, nobody was there. So it begs the question, are these guys still in Kidal? Have they escaped? If they escaped, how did they escape? Or have the Malian Armed Forces just completely wiped everything out? That is a question that we continue to monitor as things are developing on the ground in Kidal. And as soon as we have the clear intel on what the situational report of these fighters are in those locations, we are going to bring the report to you first. And ladies and gentlemen, the Malians don't stop at that. The Malians actually conducted a reconnaissance operation in Kais, which is, to some people, the economic powerhouse of Mali. because when it comes to electricity supply, when it comes to gold, Mali depends heavily on Kais. Now, what happened in Kais? According to information, the terrorists had a retreating base where they fall back to after carrying out their nefarious act in Mali. In Kais, they did not stop, but they were just there. And the Malian vectors fell on them like the shadow of the night. According to information, there was a surgical targeted strike on this retreating base. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what was there. I don't know if some of the JNIM fighters that were there were even injured. According to the report, we have 30 elements were in the base from the head count from the surveillance operation that was conducted with the Malian UAVs. And by the time they struck this base, everything that was in the base, you know what I mean, became useless. That is the report we are getting. According to information, the Malian Armed Forces did not only destroy the organisms there, they equally destroyed the logistic capabilities of the enemy. The vehicles that had GPMGs mounted on them, they were all taken out by the Malian Armed Forces. Good job from the Malian military. Now, something happened in the Tabakoro locality of Buguni. Now, Buguni is very, very important, all right? Because Buguni is strategic when it comes to the logistic route. Both federal roads, parallel network, they pass through Buguni. So the T-boys, right, they were trying to plant an improvised explosive device, and they were there. They were ready to stop and make the propaganda video of creating a blockade. You know who sent them? In Buguni. And what did the Malian Armed Forces do? Unfortunately for the elements, the Malian Armed Forces were lurking. They were waiting. According to the information that was provided, this was an asymmetric tactical maneuver by the Malian Armed Forces. It was asymmetry against asymmetry. Ladies and gentlemen, when the battle started, the enemies were not even able to do anything. The bullet slings that were recovered were unspent. That means before the elements knew what was going on, you know, the 72 virgins were already flying all over the whole place. So, ladies and gentlemen, with bells ringing, the Malian Armed Forces were able to subdue all the elements in Buguni. And this is the receipt. You see, it's free smoke season in Mali. If you get caught lacking, 72 virgins might get distributed. Now, we're not going to stop at that, right? That is a blockade that have just been foiled, all right? Because the intention of the enemy is to create a blockade. And when you look at all the things that were seized, you can see the huge improvised explosive device that probably they were trying to, you know, destroy the road and place it somewhere. And, you know, this is how they attack. It is not like the JNIM just stand 1v1 with anybody. No, they ambush, then they attack. All right. So now they failed. According to the information, we have several militants were neutralized. A few of them fled the scene with injuries of various degrees. Malian Armed Forces subdued every T-boys that tried to do anything in that location. According to the information we have, the Russian African Corps and the Malian Armed Forces were carrying out a joint patrol, and they discovered one T element protecting a particular location. And while they were carrying out their surveillance, they discovered that something was fishy. The guy was probably protecting something important. But guess what? It was a weapons storage building. And by the time the Russian African Corps and the Malian Armed Forces approached, you know what happened, man? 72 virgins. And the capabilities they had, the hammers, ammunition, everything was recovered. We have the picture of this combatant, this mujahid, that have now been knocked out. We are leaving his pictures on Telegram. We're not going to leave it here for community guideline rules. That is the information we have from the Malian frontline. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like what the Malians are doing right now, you can give us a thumbs up. That's for the Malians, not for me, actually. So, yeah, let me talk a little bit about what I noticed about the Malians recently. I think all the air components in Mali, the operational rate, I think all the air vectors in Mali have been working non-stop because the surveillance is continuous. Is like, I don't know if they even sleep. The airmen in Mali, man, these guys are some of the most active airmen in Africa. We can speak of this type of achievement when it comes to some other African countries. You even hear the infantry complaining that they never see their Air Force. But the area combatants of the Malian Armed Forces, they are really working, and the result is coming out. And you can see that the Malians have been able to discover the edge that they have been able to get on the battlefield against the enemies. Less casualty, more advantage to pile a lot of damage on the enemy. If you notice what we've discovered on the battlefield, if you calculate the enemies that were neutralized in these operations, you will discover that the Malians have been able to take out nothing less than 50 in this operation. And none of this operation, except the last operation that happened in the Kuala region and the one in Buguni, the rest were airstrikes. And you can see that recently the Malians just churned out some new rapid intervention brigade, which are from the Air Force unit, because I feel like the Malians are going to be deploying more vectors in the coming years. But we are here, we'll continue to watch. Captain Ibrahim Traore went to the front line.
Far from a presidential convoy, this is a true patrol team. Captain Ibrahim Traore is the head of the missions. We are on the Dedougou-Solenzo route in the Boucle du Mohun region. This is the first time since the terrorist crisis that a president has traveled to a forward line by road. The journey is anything but smooth sailing. We are moving at less than 30 kilometers per hour because there is no shortage of obstacles. Here, just outside Dedougou, a mine trap has been carefully placed on a mandatory passage. The demining team detects it and defuses it without difficulty. The danger is eliminated and the advance continues. The objective is Solenzo with the Bois. 30 kilometers from the martyr city, a second incident occurs. The radar detects a suspicious base. The artillery is called into action and the base is destroyed from kilometers away. A few hours later, Solenzo, the city retaken at the end of the year. For President Traore, this is not a mission of bravery, but a recognition of the work of the men who carried out Operation Feleho.
If I took to the road, it's also to send a message. Effective leaders must be able to stand alongside and support the people they lead. Even if it's not every day, that's how it should be. Here, you are on detachment. In any case, I have no doubt about that. But it's important for the soldier to often know that the leader with him is taking the same risks as he is.
The flame of hope is rekindled in Solenzo and there is no question of letting it fade. Captain Ibrahim Traore is calling on the defense and security forces to ensure by all means that the population can live in peace.
Here, what matters to you is the safety of this population, who see in you their only hope for life. And guys, give them that hope. Allow them to live. You were made for this. Fatigue and sleep are not for us. Give it your all, because when you walk, look at them closely. The hope they feel when they see you, that's what it's all about. So make them feel that even more. Give them that hope. Give them life. Being here among them, they feel alive. If you leave, it's death. So you need to get to work even harder than before. For all these people living in the Banwa region here, you must do absolutely everything humanly possible to ensure their continued safety and protection. You are the ones who raised the flag here. There is no reason for that flag to come down. We will fight here, we will walk with our heads held high on this land, because these are our lands. So arm yourselves with courage. Never give up. There will be difficulties. That is certain. Already right now the climate is your biggest challenge. It's cold, there's the harmattan, there's everything. Hold on.
Operation Feleho has been successfully completed and has made it possible to neutralize several dozen enemy combatants. Several terrorist bases have been destroyed and Solenzo has been liberated. But for now, nothing has been definitively secured. President Traoré acknowledges the delicacy of this consolidation phase.
Reconquering is good, but now it's about consolidating. So this is mainly the message I wanted to convey. Because the consolidation phase is the most difficult one. It is very difficult because the enemy, as you can see, is not very far away. They will always try to come back. So now is the time for you to rearm yourselves. You have achieved successes. You have reached the bases. You have marched on the bases. They are not above you. Not at all. They are mortals.
The struggle continues and the authorities promise to play their part. The transitional president speaks of ongoing reinforcement of operational resources and the implementation of the army's new configuration.
So what do you think about that information from Captain Ibrahim Traoré? That's phenomenal. I mean, if you are a soldier on the battlefield and your leader tells you that, I mean, what else? The man needs courage. And here's Captain Ibrahim Traoré. This is even beyond courage here. And this is what a good leader should do. Not just in Burkina Faso, in Nigeria, in Benin, but man, you know, in Nigeria, let me just hang the glove when it comes to Nigeria. So, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? You can kindly give us your opinion in the comments. It's your boy 7200 signing out, enough said. But before I go, people are asking a question. They said the Malians have prosecuted Ian Vasili, the French DGSC agent that was labeled diplomat by the French Foreign Ministry. According to information, people are being critical of the Malian position. I am just telling you what the people said. They said they prosecuted Ian Vasili, not publicly. I don't know how the Malians do their thing, but they're asking. Ian Vasili was prosecuted behind the scene or something. The result was in the open, publicly. They said, what of Abbas Dembele? They said, what of Nema Sagara? I'm not in the best position to answer that question. I mean, we will wait and see what the Malian judicial system have to say about that. Or, you know, it's Malian affair. Ian Vasili is a stranger. In some countries, what Ian Vasili did is death sentence. You can give me your opinion on what you think. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Michael Schultz. You sponsored this video. I really appreciate you. Thank you. And God bless you.